I love it here.
What is going on? There's a cousin family reunion. It's at Will and Norma's. And Robert Rich will be presenting his third act. Oh boy, I can't miss it.
Great cousins come from contented families, and contented families come from California. Sounds kind of cheesy, doesn't it? But now to the cousins family reunion. It, of course, was held at Will and Norma's home there in Lake Almanor. It was a beautiful day there. Well, I think it's time to see what Will is doing. Let's go inside.
Already, huh?
Yes.
Oh, man.
Big banquet.
Yeah, that's right.
And your hands are freezing, huh?
Yes.
Boy, it looks good.
Sacrificed myself.
Well, that's good. I'm glad you're doing that.
A recipe for Lois.
Oh, you are? Okay.
That's about as bad.
My recipes are in the Word. Oh, here it is.
Well, we all know it doesn't matter what recipe Norma picks, the food is going to be great. So let's go out on the porch, and today we're going to perform The Case of the Maltese Flightless Bird, hopefully acts 2 and 3. Now the setting is in the 1930s, and it's at San Francisco. The play, of course, is written and directed by Robert Mitch. So Robert, if you're ready, we're ready. So let's roll.
Well, George, are we rolling?
We are rolling.
Okay.
You see the red light?
We're gathered here tonight, dearly beloved, to have Act 2 of the play of The Case of the Maltese Flightless Bird. We did Act 1 a year ago, and we'll do Act 2 today, and if we have enough endurance and we don't have any food fight or anything, we'll probably have Act 3. In any event, I am the narrator, and Sam Spade, just the narrator, madam. No ad-libbing. No ad-libbing. As before, our hero is Sam Spade, played by Will. He's the private detective.
And he was so good.
Wasn't he good?
Oh, he was good.
And his secretary, Effie, played by Isla. Yeah. And we have the policeman, Tom Roberts, and he's played by Hank. And his girlfriend, who runs the Far East Cafe, Anna Mae Wong, she's played by Lois.
Yes.
And the mysterious femme fatale, Estelle Calhoun, is played by and typecast by Norma. And I'm going to do also Corporal Cashmere, Sidney Greenstreet role. We have a little companion of his whose name is Constance M. Noble, and she's played by Barbara.
You're Constance?
Constance M. Noble. And then Joanne plays Captain Grog, but she's also going to be the mysterious visitor. Okay. Places, everybody. Curtain is up on Act 2. Our story so far. The time, 1933. The place, San Francisco, by the bay. The exact place is the office of Sam Spade Detective Agency, a 3-flight walk-up on Green Street in the heart of Little Italy section of San Francisco by the bay. Not the other one by the desert, by the bay. But moving on nicely, it has been a nasty night in late November, and dense fog obscures the view of the bay from the detective's office. It's so cold that a lawyer was seen hurrying along the street with his hands in his own pockets. But I digress. A motley crew has assembled in the dingy office. It consists of Samuel, call me Sam Splade, private eye, ex-lawyer, ex-cop, ex-lax, and man about town in the fog-shrouded city of San Francisco by the Bay.
You said that.
Right. And Effie Giffey, a devoted secretary to Splade. Tom Roberts, detective, crime squad, San Francisco Police Department, and former partner of Splade when they were together on the force back in 1927. Anna Mae Wong, hostess and owner of the Far East Bar, a favorite hangout of pimps, hoes, and Splade. Mrs. Estelle Calhoun, a mysterious visitor. Corpulent C. Cashmere, also known as the Fat Man, mysterious trader from the Far East. Constant N. Noble, a diminutive but dangerous female and by necessity reluctant ally of the Fat Man. Captain Grog, master of the Darting Duck, a freighter of Chinese registry bound for Frisco, which arrived earlier this dark and stormy night. Nasty night. Other surprise visitors come and go throughout the night. Now to the story. It was discovered early on that Sam's partner, Miles Archer Daniels Midland, had been shot dead by persons unknown. As a consequence, many of those assembled in Sam's office were apparently looking for a mysterious object. A wounded seaman, Captain Grog, had staggered into the room carrying a mysterious object wrapped in the morning edition of the Marin Independent Journal. Unwrapped, it proved to be a large carving of a black bird encrusted with either precious stones or semi-precious stones, or perhaps Hamadani silver quaver precious stones. The sight of which enraged some members of the group immediately broke out. Pandemonium reigned, subject of course to recount. With order restored, Sam examined the object and proclaimed it to be the famous Maltese duck, the last remnant of a secret sect known as the Order of the Maltese Duck. It had been commissioned by the sect and created by a Far Eastern craftsman by the name of Ari Finn, distant cousin to a present-day rug merchant named Ara Pratt. The duck was created to honor the visit of the Turkish potentate Abdul the Hesitant. Sam, consulting his library, discovered also that the Maltese duck, carved from solid lead and overlaid with gold, was indeed inset with precious gems, or as one of the characters called it, the stuff that dreams are made of. It was then that Sam began to interrogate the group, concluding that both Miles, etc., and Captain Grog had been shot with a Wembley .09 automatic, the very same weapon he observed in the purse of Mrs. Estelle Calhoun. But just as things were looking bad for the beauty from Memphis, the light went out, the curtain fell on Act 1. Now as the curtain rises on Act 2, the lights are back on. Sam Splade has his .32 caliber Mercer Ellington trained on the group. Sam speaks. Listen.
All right, everybody, freeze. Effie,
Yes, Sam.
pat them down, see if they're carrying any heat. This little show is getting out of hand. If we're not careful, somebody could get hurt.
Effie pats down the group one by one.
Oh, Sam, Effie don't need to pat me down. You know I'm a cop, and that I'm supposed to be carrying.
Sorry, Tom, but everyone's suspect. Spread your legs.
Tom spreads them and smiles as Effie pats him down.
Never been patted down before.
Is that a Presto log in your pocket, or are you just...
Oh, yeah, some guy spelling out counterfeit logs on Powell and Sutter. I had to bust him and take one as evidence.
Never mind the garb, Effie. Get on with it.
Okay, Sam. All right, sister. You're next.
It's not necessary for you to put your grubby little hands all over me. Sam knows I'm a Wembley .09 in my alligator purse.
That's right, precious. Effie, take the heater out of her purse and put it on my desk. It may be the same gun that shot my partner, Miles Archer Daniels Midland.
Shot? Did you say shot?
Don't keep giving us that crap, Mrs. Calhoun. Your boyfriend was D-A-A-D earlier this evening, and you know it.
D-A-A-D?
That's right. He's dead as a doornail for keeping company with you, Mrs. Calhoun. Keep patting, honey.
Right. Say Anna Mae Wong having you long slinky dress slit up the thigh makes it easy to pat you down. I'll be able to tell if it's true about your Chinese.
No, is not true.
What? That's not true.
If all Chinese wear Fruit of Loom underwear.
Okay, she's clean, Sam, except she's wearing 2 pair of jockey shorts.
I'll bet that's to keep her butt warm while barking outside the Far East Cafe.
Why should she bark? Like a dog?
Oh, you sorry little piece of Muslim caca. Barking means standing on the sidewalk and enticing visitors to one's establishment.
Entice this?
Calm down. Continue your pat, pet.
Right, Sam. And now you're Mr. Kashmir.
Well, sir, this is a bit of an outrage, if you don't mind my saying so. I abhor violence and carry no weapon. True, I'm a large and powerful man, but I conserve my resources and use force only when absolutely necessary.
Do it, Effie.
Effie moves on the fat man and forces his arms up, his legs wide, and proceeds to pat him down.
Well, he's clean, Sam, except for that cologne he's wearing. Smells like a combination of Turkish harem and pet grooming shop.
Different strokes, sweetheart.
Well, sir, that's a start, but I fear our relationship will not improve to that extent unless I get the Maltese duck.
I wasn't talking to you, white whale meat. I was talking to my secretary.
You're next, sweet cakes.
Take your hands off of me. I can assure you, I also am not a person of violence and should not hurt and would not hurt a fly.
Unless it was open. I know. But
Although the little Turkish twit struggles to rid herself of Effie's probe, she finally surrenders to the...
that just leaves you, Captain Grog.
Sure, MBG and Sam, you don't suspect your poor old Grog now, do you? I'm the fellow that brought you the mysterious package, remember? I was doing just what I was paid to do, deliver it to the poor old Miles, or in the event of his demise, to his trusted partner, Sam Spade.
Demise? Whose demise? Where's my beloved Miles, etc.?
Brother, you just don't get it, do ya? Miles is dead. D-E-D, dead.
I didn't hire you for your spelling practice.
Oh, Sam.
Huh? Has something happened to my big 6-footer?
What part of dead do you not understand? He's 6 foot under. He's bought the farm. He's tilt up.
Oh, not say that. From the top, madam. He's what?
He's tits up. He's room temperature.
Estelle?
Yes, but is he all right?
Well, Sam, this isn't getting us anywhere. I should take everybody down to headquarters, and I should take the mysterious object with me.
You mean the falcon?
It's a duck. Tom hits the deck and draws a .32 caliber Chippendale from his pantyhose.
Easy, Tom. He didn't mean for you to duck. He meant it for the Maltese duck, not falcon, we're dealing with. As far as you're taking the folks to headquarters, I say it all in good time, but my methods are better. And you sure as hell are not taking the duck with you.
Ah, Sam, I guess you're right. But it's getting late, and I've got to call in to headquarters.
No can do, Copper. Someone's ripped out the phone line. Remember?
I might have tripped over it when I came staggering and lurching in from the fog in the middle of that one. I've always been one for lurching and tripping and reeling. Yes, lurching, tripping, staggering, reeling. That's me in a nutshell.
Whatever, but we don't need no stinking fun. We need answers to my questions. Where were you, Grog, when the lights went out?
In the dark, Sam, in the dark.
He means, where were you standing?
Jesus, Mary Joseph, I don't think I was standing at all. I believe I was on the deck. Yeah, I was on the deck, shot and bleeding when when am I going to get to see a doctor?
Confucius say never go to doctor whose plant in waiting room has died. I had a doctor friend once. When I couldn't afford an operation, he touched up my x-rays for me.
I had doctors who said I had meningitis, so I hit him with my purse.
Well, so doctors are not infallible. I had a terrible case of the gout and asked the doctor what I should do about it. And the rascal just said I should limp.
Enough of this chit-chat. Tom, where were you when the lights went out?
Right over there near the door, holding up Anna Mae Wang.
Long's wang. Sam Loberts was holding my hand.
That's what I said, holding your hand. And it's Roberts with an R.
Light Loberts.
She means right, Roberts. But what about Wayne Wong? I didn't get that part.
Get these.
You're French?
My father was the French musician. He saw the people in half.
I see. Do you have any brothers?
I have the half-sister.
Whatever. Now, Effie, have you patted down everyone? Are we safe to proceed with the interrogation?
Just then a tiny knock is heard at the door, and what appears to be a tiny tot enters. Joanne is also...
Wait on call.
Hold the phone, sister. Aren't you the little broad that was delivering pizza in Act 1?
Yes, all right. Blow my cover. I'm not what I appear to be.
You appear to be short.
I want a second opinion.
Shorty and ugly, or short and ugly. I haven't seen anyone so short and ugly since I went out with an orangutan.
You never spoke of her, Tom Sand. She must have been a swinger.
All right, enough. Who are you and what do you want? We're trying to solve a murder here.
Well, if you must know, my name is Connie Cairo, and that little creep over there,
The visitor points to Constantinople.
that little creep over there, the one you call the turkey's twit, is actually Joel Cairo, my twin brother?
Well, sir, this is indeed a startling development. I must say so. You see, I've known whom I thought to be Miss Constantinople for several years now, and I never considered she might be a he. I once observed her relieving herself against a date palm, but I thought it merely a rebellious act by one of today's newly franchised young women. But never once did I...
Fat man, cut the chatter. So Constance's jewel and the little pizza chick is actually his twin sister, Connie Cairo. Where did you go to school?
You're also Connie, Joanne.
Oh, okay. Parisian University, PU.
I know I shouldn't have bought that cheap perfume.
Okay, cheap perfume. I'll buy that. But what I just want to know, what Miss Cairo's doing here and what she's got to do with the plot.
Get on?
Get on with it.
Right.
I think I can answer that, Sam. You see, as captain of the Darting Duck, which sailed into the Frisco Harbor earlier in the day, I was privy.
Where is the privy? We've been here for hours and I've got to freshen up my face.
Out in the office, first door to your left.
Estelle Calhoun is about to leave, but Sam restrains her.
Just a minute, sweetheart. You ain't going anywhere without me watching you.
Sam, none of that. I'll go and keep an eye on her.
The two women leave Sam's office as Grog continues.
Well, I was saying my job, in addition to being skipper of,
Skipper? What is skipper? Like the peanut butter?
The skipper is the same as a captain of a ship. And remember, when the captain was carrying this cardboard thing wrapped in a newspaper, well...
Wait, let me continue the Analogy. As fire engines are read, newspapers are read too, and 2 times 6 is 12, and there are 12 inches in a ruler.
Stop, I don't want to hear it.
Tommy, Joanne.
Oh, Queen Mary was a ruler, and a ship, and,
Stop that woman.
Hey,
no,
Joe Carroll. No, let my sister speak.
A scuffle breaks out as Connie tries to continue. The fat man lunges for Connie as Joel lunges for the fat man, and Anna Mae lunges for Estelle before she realizes Estelle has gone to the loo with Effie. And Captain Grog takes a long swig from a hip flask. His flask is not hip in today's sense of the word, but usually carried on the hip, whatever.
and ships sail the seas, and fishes live in the sea, and
I can't stand to hear that stupid analogy again.
I believe the expression, Mr. Splade, is stupid, stupid, stupid 3 times, you see. I'm a student of semantics, and,
I ain't never heard of the semantics. I prefer the old Supremes myself. Such a shame when Diana Ross got killed in that car crash in the tunnel.
that, sir, is worth 4 stupids.
as I was saying, ships sail the sea, fishes live in the sea, fishes have fins, the Finns fought the Russians are red, fire engines are red too. 2 times, well, you get it, don't you?
All right, already. Now the little creature just got that out of her system. I see the ladies have returned from the loo.
Skip to my loo.
Skip to my loo. My darling. I'm sorry.
I will get to my
Now my eyes
summary.
are watering again, sorry.
I will get to my summary of the case and then reveal the name of the killer.
Will Sam Splade finally get on with it and name names? Will the real killer, once charged by Sam, put the charge on his or her credit card? Will there be other surprising surprises? How about a recount? Tune in next holiday for Act 3 of The Case of the Flightless Bird, also known as the Maltese Duck. This evening's play is brought to you by the fine folks at Honeywell, Amasco, and Home Oil Company. This has been a Honey on Home Productions. Good grief and good night.
Very good.
Yeah.
Well, that's in part 3 if you're up to it. Very good, Robert. We'll continue just 12. Accidentally, some of this came loose here, so watch that.
Okay, here we are, he's handing it out. We are very fortunate we're going to have another act.
This is Estelle, this is,
Oh, that's me.
oh, Estelle.
I'm Estelle.
Okay, Barbara's Constance.
Okay. Joel Caro, who was that? Was that Barbara?
Yes.
The Maltese Flightless Bird. Our story so far, the time 1933, the place San Francisco by the Bay. Our story takes place in the office of Sam Splade Detective Agency, a 3-flight walk-up on Green Street in the heart of, etc., etc. It's an awful night. The fog obscures the bay. It's so cold the lawyer has been seen stooping to warm his hands over fresh seagull dung, but I digress. A motley crew is assembled in Sam's office. The crew consists of Samuel, call me Sam Splade, Private Eye, etc. Previously, Sam was famous for his ability to solve complex cases. Lately, however, he has become forgetful, and some have suggested he is, to coin a phrase, one goose short of a full gaggle. His devoted secretary, Effie Giffey, puts it differently. Effie says,
Sam is just tired. He's been working so hard, he's sometimes one pearl short of a rope.
Now, Tom Roberts, detective, Crime Squad, San Francisco Police Department, and former partner of Splade, one on the force, puts it another way.
Oh, Sam is all right. He just sometimes is a grape short of a bunch.
Anna Mae Wong, hostess owner of the Far East Bar, a favorite hangout of pimps, hoes, and splades, says this about the handsome detective.
Sam is okay, although sometimes he acts like he is one cookie short of a fortune.
And Mrs. Estelle Calhoun, mysterious visitor, puts it another way.
Sam is my kind of guy, but sometimes acts as though he's one locust short of a plague.
Corporal C. Cashmere, also known as the Fat Man, mysterious trader from the Far East, says, "Hello, sir, Mr. Splade is indeed a character. I like a man who knows when he's face to face with dangerous adversaries." Yet I must confess, he appears on occasion to be, shall we say, one bee short of a hive of a swarm. Very clever of me if I do say so myself. Constance M. Noble, who pretended to be a diminutive, dangerous female that turned out to be Joel Cairo, assessed Sam thusly.
The man is dangerous, and he has struck me once too often. I believe him to be a worm short of a can. A can of worms is an American expression, is it not?
That's right, little fellow, but what has Captain Grog, Master of the Darting Duck, had to say about his detective friend?
I'll not be saying anything bad about my friend Sam Spade, so don't even try a torture on poor Grog, for I'll tell no stories about the man.
How about if one poured hot lead up your poo-poo, then would you talk?
I made you say, well, yes, then I would talk. Sing like a canary, I would.
And finally, what does the pizza girl, who turned out to be the Avon lady, who turned out to be Jolene Cairo, sister of Joe, think of a chain-smoking detective?
Mr. Spade is okay in my book, although sometimes he appears to be one horse short of a full Monty. Monty Roberts, get it? Got it.
So, as you can see, our detective friend is not always loved and admired, especially as he is about to solve the mystery of the Maltese duck and name the killer of his former partner, Miles Archer Daniels Midland. But now back to our story. It was discovered early on that Sam's partner, Miles, etc., had been shot dead by persons unknown. As a consequence, many of those assembled in Sam's office were apparently looking for a mysterious object. A wounded seaman, Captain Grog, had staggered into the room carrying a mysterious object wrapped in, etc., etc. Unwrapped, it proved to be a large carving of a blackbird encrusted with precious you-know-what. The sight of the bird enraged some members of the group. A melee broke out, pandemonium reigned, subject, of course, to recount. With order restored, Sam examined the object and proclaimed it to be the famous Maltese duck, the last remnant of a secret sect known as the Order of the Maltese Duck. Sam, consulting a dog-eared book in the library, discovered that the Maltese duck, carved from solid lead and overlaid with gold, was indeed inset with precious you-know-what. It was, as one character called it, the stuff that dreams are made of. It was then that Sam began to interrogate the group, concluding that both Miles, etc., and Captain Grog had been shot with a Wendley .9 automatic, the very same weapon he observed in the purse of Mrs. Estelle Calhoun. But just as things were looking bad for the beauty from Memphis, the lights went out, and the curtain fell on Act 1. The same thing happened to Act 2. Sam had apparently failed to pay his utility bill. But now, as Act 3 opens, Deputy has found several candles and lit them. And Sam is ready for his close-ups as he begins his final summary. Listen.
All right, all you guys and dolls, be seated and smoke them if you've got them. It's going to be a long night.
Sam, maybe some of the group need to go to the loo, as did Mrs. Calhoun and myself.
Yes.
No, stay where you are. I want to see you squirm as I tell you what is really going on. I just figured it out. And no more cracks about me being one beam short of a pill or one puff short of a litter or having my rung missing on my ladder. I know my business, and now I know your business. You mean gasp.
Sorry. Yes.
That's better. Now, what we have here is a triangle. Not an isosceles triangle, but a romantic triangle. You see, what we've got is the idealist, his conflicted wife, and we've got this adventure. The adventure is me, of course, because I'm telling the story. Now, how many of you have ever heard of Hogarth? Bumphrey Hogarth.
No hand is raised. But wait, Tom raises his hand.
Oh, Sam, maybe you mean Humphrey Bogart, the guy with a facial tick. The movie Tough Guy. You look just like him, Sam.
Thanks, Tom, just as I thought. How about Ingrid? Ingrid, what's her name?
The silence is deafening.
How about Paul Henry?
Paul Simon, maybe Sam San.
Close, but no cigar. Monica Pierre Laurie, Dooley Wilson, Claude Rains. No, nothing? You're either a bunch of dummies or liars. All right, one last chance. Casablanca.
Oh, yes. Well, sir, I see your point. You're suggesting all the rules of stage and all the men and women movie players who have their exits and their entrances. Is that what you're saying?
Bingo, fat man. As I see it, we've got this here play going on. It's not only one play, it's many plays. And what makes it so damn confusing, like an election. Once you all figure out who we are and what character we're playing, the case will solve itself, and we will learn who shot my partner, Miles, etc.
I am playing the Ingrid what's-her-name part. No, wait, Mary Astor part.
Nobody astered you, sister, but as for me, I'm thinking Ingram Stromboli, Bergman.
Oh, Sam, you got me figured for your sidekick. I'm always playing the Ward Bond part.
Well, sir, obviously you've selected me for the Sidney Green Street, which is rather ironic because I once lived on Green Street.
I see you have French, you remember, and I think I will be the lovely Lauren Bacall.
Lauren Bacall was actually Jewish, but never mind that. I am obviously the odious little creature, character actor, Peter Glory.
You mean Peter Glory?
Or whatever.
I don't see where I fit in this play. Sam? Can I be Victor McLaughlin? Or maybe Gregory Peck?
Whatever you want, Captain, but that leaves the pizza Avon Julian Cairo kid. What role are you playing, you irritating little twit?
Well, I guess I'll be Julie Wilson, sir. You want me to play the song now?
No. I told you never to play that song again.
Okay, I won't play it.
Let him play it again, Sam.
I said no. No time for that now. What two people once meant to one another is not worth a hill of beans. But then again I said to myself, yeah, go ahead and play it again, Sam. One more for the road.
That's Frank's song, Sam.
Right, you know which song I mean.
Yeah, let's hear it, kid.
You can run, but you cannot hide.
Meaning what, kid?
I cannot play the piper nor play the piano.
Do you know what happens to little people who lie?
No, but if you hum a few bars, I'll fake it.
I fail to see, sir, where we're going with this. We're going Casablanca, the Maltese Falcon, or Key Largo. I'm ready for my close-up, and my pancake makeup is beginning to run. Overweight people tend to perspire under stress, you know.
Oh, what a tangled web we weave when first we practice to deceive.
Wow, Anna-May, who said that? Confucius?
Robert Downey, Jr.
I'm also ready for my clone-up. As you recall, Mr. Spleed, I was a very handsome, curly-haired dandy in the Maltese Falcon. I dressed nicely, had a perfumed hanky in my, if you will excuse the expression, breast pocket, and did not appreciate being roughed up by ruffians like you.
Be that as it may, Mr. Cairo, you will take your lumps and like the rest of them. Everyone is suspect in this case. But to make my final summation and declare the murder, we must eat up another 4 pages of script. So let's hear each character in character answer a few questions. Let's start with you, gorgeous.
Oh, Sam.
No, I meant the Estelle Calhoun, nee Mary Astor.
All right. I know what you're going to ask me, Sam. Why would I shoot Miles Archer? Well, if I did, but if I didn't, it was because he betrayed me. He wanted the bird for himself, and he took certain liberties with me, which you understand was all right because he was sporting that cute little mustache, which made me weak in the knees.
And round in the heels, sweetheart. Okay, nice try. Next.
All right, you see, Sam, you had left me stranded in Paris, and Paul came along. He was a resident fighter against the Krauts. And Krauts? Okay. And he was tall, dark, and handsome, and he needed me But you never did because you were a soldier of fortune and liked to be surrounded by guys, if you get my drift. So I married Paul so he could get his green card. To work in the Casablanca melon fields, of course, which was his cover. But though we married, I never really got over you, Sam. And sometimes, and every time I hear the song, our song, Too Much Coffee Man, I just fall apart.
Touching, but not too convincing. Next character.
Oh, Sam, you remember. I was the Claude Rains character, chief of police in Casablanca, and carried a swagger stick. And we had that kind of joshing camaraderie thing going where you would break the laws and I would look the other way because I was admired your macho ways, and we walked away together after you put the Swedish broad on the plane in the fog.
Not bad, not bad. But if you paid attention in Act 2, I predicted things to come, like the witches when they told Macbeth he would rule until Birman Wood came to Duns and
Whatever.
No, Sam, you mean Tiger Wood, the big golf ball. He's a pistol, is that man. Ooh, boy.
ooh, whatever. But Fat Man, what's your storyline?
Oh, well, sir, I like a man who calls it as he sees it. You see, sir, I spent my life as an overweight fellow in a white suit and a Panama hat in search of elusive treasures. And though I've taken a fall or two, I've always risen to the occasion to be a bad fellow once again. So, as you can see, sir, I must have the Maltese duck at all cost.
Good show, Fat Man. Let's hear from the supporting cast. Where's your gunzel, Eli Cook Jr.?
Ah, yes, Delmer, my hired gun. Well, he's not available. He took the fall for me in our first movie, and outlived us all, I might add.
Be that as it may, let's hear from Joe. Cairo is played by Peter Lorre.
Thank you. I appreciate common courtesy, although I, as a man of refinement, a fancy dresser, and wearer of cheap perfume, I can, when the occasion occurs, result to violence and unspeakable cruelty. So, you see, it does not pay to F with me. Do I make myself clear?
Quite clear that you can say fight. You don't have to spell it. And you, Captain Grog.
You're all Captain Grog, didn't see much of his life, Sam, and not one for putting on airs. I just want to get a little slice of life before I stow my oars. I figure just one stinking jewel from the bird will let me buy drinks for my mates for a year. After that, sew me in my sails and let me sleep in the deep.
That's a beautiful thought and well said, Cap. Finally, the pizza Avon sister of Joe Cairo, Doreen.
My character cannot be found in any of the movies, Mr. Splade. I'm just here for comic relief.
Whoopi Goldberg, you're not.
I can live with that. But there's something you all should know if you believe the number 13 is unlucky. But there were 13 original colonies in this country, 13 signers of the Declaration of Independence, 13 stripes on our flag. And on the back of a dollar bill, 13 steps on the pyramid, 13 letters in the Latin above, 13 letters in E pluribus unum, meaning one nation for many people, 13 stars above the eagle, and 13 feathers on each wing.
Thank you. Let's move.
13 bars on the shield, 13 leaves on the olive branch, 13 olives and 13 arrows. Now I'm done and I'm going to tap dance my way out of here.
And so she does, tapping her little heart out the door, out of the inner office, into the hallway, and to the head of the stairs, where she trips and falls to the landing below. And this is you hear her cry.
Oh, it didn't hurt.
Enough already. I think we're all getting tired and need some shut-eye. So I'm going to put a wrap on this mystery right here and now. Gasp if you will, but you see, I've got a job to do. So this is the way I figure it. Jolene didn't shoot Miles because she wasn't in the film. The Fat Man was, and although he won the popular vote, He is too obvious a suspect. And lovable but lice-ridden Captain Grog is kicking the bucket as we speak. So Grog is out of it. As for Effie, my loyal secretary, she's had a crush on me for years. If she shot Miles and had to do time for the crime, she'd be too old for me after she got out of prison. We'll have to get a job with temporary personnel, and she wouldn't want that, so she's clean. Tom, you're too straight and stupid. Stupid to shoot Miles. For you'd lose your pension, right?
Well, yeah.
What about Anna Mae Wong, the good-looking manager of the Far East Bar? Well, her alibi is as tight as her kimono. She was running a mahjong game upstairs above the bar the night Miles was shot. And so is left. Who is left? Estelle Calhoun, the Belle of Memphis, G.A.
Sam, what are you saying? You know I couldn't have shot Miles.
How so, sweetheart?
I love it when you say sweetheart with a lisp.
You haven't answered my question. Why couldn't you have shot Miles? I spotted a Wembley .9 automatic in your purse, the same gap that done Miles in. You were observed by a streetwalker standing close to Miles above the Stockton tunnel where the body was later found. I checked your gloves while you were in the loo, and there were traces of powder burns on them. And finally, I discovered from a tarot card that you hate guys with pencil-thin mustaches like Miles wore.
When you put it like that, I guess I did shoot Miles Archer.
Estelle holds out her wrist.
Here, Sam, cuff me and take me away.
Sam was supposed to say, take her away, Tom.
Whatever, but here's looking at you, kid.
With that, Sam Spade gives a quick two-finger salute to the Memphis Belle and turns to look out the window towards the rock known as Alcatraz as a slight shudder vibrates through his tense frame. And so the curtain falls on the final act of the case of the Maltese flightless bird. This evening, the production was brought to you by the fine folks at Zippo Manufacturing, Audi Motors, Rufus Grow, and Dakota Mining. This has been a zippity-doo-dah production. Good grief and good night.
And Sam, another great job.
Yes. Never knew you had it in, Will, except for last year and this year. You did good.
I got into it. They said, hey, Will is really, I think he stole the show.
Well, girls, what did you think of the play? I thought it was positively earth-shaking. Yes, earth-shaking. Earth-shaking. Yes, it was earth-shaking. It was utterly good. Yes. Hey, is that who I think it is? Is that Hank?
On another trip, huh?
Yes, we are.
Where are you going now? You go to Susanville tonight.
And we'll depart Susanville tomorrow morning, and we'll head to
I'm still hoping we would be there too, you know.
Winnemucca. We're going to stay overnight in Winnemucca, then we'll go up to Wells, Nevada, then head north to towards Twin Falls, Idaho. We'll probably stay in Jackpot and Nevada, then go on to Twin Falls on up to Jackson Hole, Wyoming, where we're going to a ship's reunion.
How neat. Now, what's the, do you have like a year on your ship's reunion? Is it like over 30-something?
They're annual, and usually in this time of the year. And then from there, we'll probably, weather permitting, go into Yosemite, and then hopefully up to Cody, Wyoming, and drop down to South Dakota to Mount Rushmore. And from there, we probably will play it by ear. I don't know, weather permitting, of course, on all this. And after we leave Jackson Hole. And We don't know whether to go back the south route or go back the north route. And they're kind of leaning towards the north route going back. And drop down into probably Bend, Oregon and spend a day or two there. And
Cruise is going to be about a week
of
after
course a day or two along the way.
So
And
she said that
Do a little gambling out here.
oh yeah, lucky Lily, my wife.
England out on the day of their
She
anniversary.
did pretty good in Reno the other day, so that's good. We had fun. So
That'll be neat. Well, we'll check on you. Hopefully not before.
and hopefully you're in this part of the world in May of
Next year, you're going to come see us.
We'll come see you. Might even be there before then. You never know.
Oh, yeah, we hope so.
Yeah, we'll have to give you a call and make sure that you're home, and if you are, we may just drop down and spend a day with you.
Wonderful. Okay.
Alrighty.
Oh, yeah, I just went and changed glasses. I can see.
Well, you look good in those glasses. And so you've been actively going on all your crafts.
Yeah.
And
It's a good pastime.
Yeah, look here what she's made.
And
And those
we
are
were looking
buttons.
for a big mirror for our
I
entry.
got them on there now.
And
Yeah.
we haven't been able
That was a lot of fun. Oh, yeah,
We
we
decided we'd look at
You had a good time doing that, huh?
Oh, it's a lot of fun.
there, and then on
It
the
doesn't
way
take too long.
home.
Once you learn how and get going, you have to finish
Centralia.
on it. Then you gotta make another pair of another car.
Well, okay. How many pairs do you have?
Oh, must be 8 or 10.
Is that right? Oh, that's good.
All along that I've made and given them away.
Oh, that's neat.
Yeah.
Sam,
Buttons is the problem.
Kids do it.
can't wait till we see you next year and see what you've got.
Well, it's been a short year this year.
I know that.
Long of a
You'll have to make it shorter and come see us.
Oh, well,
we
might do that.
I think it took us
You talked him to here about your trip.
Yeah.
It's gonna be a nice one.
Oh, I think so. Of course, we've been to Jackson Hole before, but we'll be there for 4 nights, and the convention, the reunion is there, so we'll get to see a lot more.
That's neat. Have a good time, and perhaps we'll see you in May.
I hope so,
I hope so, too.
because the Pearl Harbor Survivors State Convention will be in Santa Rosa in 2002.
That's great.
Yeah, so I hope you're home, but you guys are about as much gone as we are, or have been this year. We've been on the road a lot.
Then over at the seashore.
Yeah.
You've got lots of good agates, too.
Oh, yes, and how stupid can you be to get up at 5:45 in the morning and leave at 6:15 and get on the beach at daylight, and look for those agates.
That's when they're the best, though, huh? The tide.
The tide, you have to get there at low tide.
Oh, that's good.
Yeah, but it's fun. I mean, it does get you out and exercise. We'd walk about 3 miles. So, yeah, it was fun.
Okay, thanks.
Okay, George.
And it is now, huh? Drink time.
And getting dinner time.
Oh, yes.
We have to have it a little earlier.
And our star player over here, Will. Gosh, you did good again.
Just takes practice.
That's right. That's right. We keep at it, we'll do it right.
We used to call you Tyrone Powers.
The picture of the youngest of the crowd.
Oh, yeah.
And Lois says it. She's been telling me it's her.
Lodi, listen, we're the same age. Pictures of the youngest of the crowd, you have to go 25 feet that way, and we need to be photographed under silk. You understand?
We're the same age.
Now,
Lodi, yes we are. We're both 72.
Oh, really?
I haven't had a birthday yet.
Oh, really?
I got another week to go.
that's why she was so pleased to come.
Sure she is.
She asked that it be now, not later.
Well, Lois has always been older than I, and Lois will always be older than I. She may look younger than I am, but I'm still the youngest.
No, I don't think.
And George, you are certainly one nosy person. I think you're even...
There's my nose. Yeah, right. There's my nose.
Oh, that's
Well, good.
that. We'll see you next year. Oh boy, they are the cream of the crop. Goodbye. Thank you, Mama.